welcome live to the Amp Lab on World Music Day here at the Music Project. And I happen to have an amazing guest in. We've already chatted a little bit, and I'm excited to have Trev Dellinger is with me. Hi, Trev.
Hey, how's it going, sir?
Awesome. I'm so glad to have you with me today.
Fun to be here.
Yeah, I when I was looking through the stuff, I'm like, who's Trev?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like, who's this guy? And then Lee Bacon, the guy that owns him and his wife own the Music Project.
Danny, yeah.
Yeah, Danny and him started talking about you. And I don't know if your ears were burning, but it was pretty cool.
No, it's like I'm nobody. I'm just a guy.
I don't know. I think you were pretty cool.
Anything. No, I was lucky enough to be a kid in the '80s and grow up in Seattle, and so, we were in bands and at the same time as all the big bands were. Yeah, I guess.
And didn't you say that you are you would have been Kurt is your he would have been your age.
Yeah,
right?
we're the same age.
You guys are the same age.
Yeah, we're the same age, and yeah, I was in a band we started in '84 and kind of disbanded around 1990, and then after that it was like, back then there's nothing to do in Seattle besides skateboard was the new thing, and then rock and punk rock, and people were doing their own little bands playing in basements and really shitty places. They weren't the clubs were fine back then. Before the teen dance ordinance, it was like you could go to a bar but not sit at the bar.
Right.
You had to sit at the restaurant. Yeah. And they were the kids in and watch music. So that's I didn't know, but we go to Pioneer Square and get in and saw the Butthole Surfers in '84 at the Central, I think. But anyway. Yeah, I'm rambling now about music and stuff because people don't know who I am. But then band broke up, whatever, tried to keep going, tried. Sometimes you win, you lose. But then I was like, well, friends of mine were in bands and they were trying to get a record out. And in the punk rock spirit, I was like, F it, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Talked to Kurt Block from the Fastbacks and like, hey, man, who you guys use? And he's like, well, K-Disc down south. And just, put together really $600.
Wow.
And put out a record for my friend's band.
That's crazy.
Big Satan Incorporated was the band, the first band we did, first record. And I don't want to sit here and, ramble on about music and stuff.
I don't know. I kind of like it when you ramble.
Okay. Well.
Yeah.
So anyway, and it was like, Sub Pop had just come out too. And so we were like a little independent label, and it was like, F it, just do it yourself. Because even getting shows was hard back then, and I was really surprised that Nirvana was playing in the Melvins. Those guys were awesome, but they got shows in Seattle where we because I think they were like, well, who are these hillbillies from Aberdeen?
Right, right.
So let's get them on, Anyway,
that's amazing though, and you told me a little bit. Hey, Aim, could you do me a favor and go turn that speaker off? Just turn it down. It's feedbacking on us.
I thought that was me.
No, it's not you. She's just going to go turn it down for us. My wife here with me today, it's our 39th wedding anniversary today at World Music Day. And that's how we celebrate now. She actually got me a card. I didn't get her a card today. But we will celebrate later, I promise.
You guys are troopers.
Yeah, well, that's all right. World Music Day is worth it.
Absolutely.
It's pretty dang cool. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the Music Project, and then
Sure.
then I have a couple other questions for you. How did you link up Lee and Danny Bacon, the folks that have this going on here? How did you get linked up with them?
So I'd heard through some friends that Christ was down here, not here in Aberdeen, but he's got his house down the road.
Yeah.
And that some of their Seattle Northwesty people were moving out back, and I was like, well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. And so I think I just Googled Aberdeen for the heck of it to see what's going on.
Oh my gosh.
And then there was this news story about the
Music Project.
And I'd heard about it, but I never really paid so I watched the story and I was like, well, that looks legitimate. Not just, I thought it would be like a tourist
trap.
Like
tourist trap. Like, come in and get a poster of Kurt.
Yeah. And it's, $20 to get in and you see some stuff and like stuff we've all seen before or people that, but then I came here and I was really impressed. And I told some of my quote unquote rock star friends, they're just not rock stars, whatever.
Right.
And they were like, oh really? And I'm like, yeah, it's legit, man. And they were like, okay, well, check it out. So then I just called.
And they hooked you up.
I just Googled them and then left Danny a message, and she's like, dude, you got to come out here.
Oh yeah.
And I just said I'm Seattle guy, not nothing. I'm not hip or famous or anything, but I just said, I got some stories, I got some records, I got some memorabilia and some stuff, and you guys might want to. So it came out, and these guys have actually. This is no joke. This place is it's pretty cool.
It's
man.
legit.
Yeah.
I know. I've been. I'm a DJ on a local radio station out here, and I've been involved with music for pretty much all my life. And when I ran into Danny and Lee, we were looking for a place to move our photo and video studio to, and
sure.
they hooked us up with a place here. When we came in and looked at it, I was like, I don't know, because it was not like it is now.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't know. Amy, my wife, and I, we looked at the space they wanted to rent us, and I'm like, I don't know, man. This is like got a lot of work to do. So then they said, well, come on into our office and we'll talk about it. So I walk into their office, and it's like killer cool.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, well, this is cool. There's gold records on the wall. There's like these vision like renderings of what they want to accomplish. And I'm like, well, okay.
Yeah.
So we went ahead and signed the lease without even realizing, and I'm telling you, in front of our eyes, we watched the last 3 years, this place just transform. Very few people will say, hey, here's what we want to do, and this is what we're going to do. A lot of people come into town, and they go, we're going to do all this stuff,
sure,
and they don't ever do it.
Yeah.
But then you turn around, and people like Danny and Lee actually put their bucks behind what they're saying, and then they opened it to the public, got involved in our community, and this is like a force to be reckoned with, man.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope it is.
It's a lot different. I mean, I've seen a lot, and this is really legit. So I'm like, okay. And I felt kind of cool, too, that they're not trying to capitalize off of, I mean, yes, it's all about Nirvana and grunge. That's
sure.
cool.
Northwest music or just music, I guess, yeah.
But I don't feel like they're trying to take advantage of that, if that makes sense. I think they're trying to celebrate that. And one of the reasons they called their Side One Studios, this whole thing a Side One Studio, because they're focusing on the Side One of Kurt's life.
Right.
And because there's we all know. Rock stars have problems, like we all do, but they're not focusing on that part. They're talking about the creativity.
Yeah. Well, and people forget, like at the end of the day, like John Lennon was just a guy.
Yeah.
And he would say, "Hey, I took a good shit this morning. Pardon me, my French, but that's what's important to you." And he said, "Well, I did that this morning."
Yeah.
So like Kurt too.
Down to earth.
I think he would. Oh, I don't know what he would do, but I would think that he would kind of not laugh in a bad way.
No, but I think he'd be going, what?
Seriously, guys?
Yeah.
But then, if you step back from and look 30 years ago, like historical perspective, when I was a kid, hearing people that were in Liverpool that saw the Beatles at the Cavern Club.
Yeah, they didn't.
And I would read these interviews, and I was fascinated. I'd be like, oh my God, you saw the Beatles in '60?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, and I was fascinated by those stories they would tell and stuff. So I just kind of reflect, like me now being an older dude, somebody who's 20 or 15, 18, I don't know, whatever.
Right.
20, and I was there, yeah, sure. So I saw shows and blah 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 blah. But I don't know. And these guys are Lee and Danny are giving Aberdeen in the Northwest a place to focus on not only just Nirvana but music.
They've given people a destination because I've lived here for a long time, and I'll go by that sign out on the highway that says "Come as you are." There's somebody stopped there all the time because people make a mecca down here. They're coming to see something about Kurt or Nirvana. They get over there and they stop there all the time, but they didn't have anywhere else. There was a park here, like Kurt Cobain Park.
I heard about that. Yeah.
And it's okay. But there wasn't anything here. The town at one point didn't even celebrate that.
That's so odd because
it's so weird.
If you're I know not everyone's a capitalist, but if you're a mayor or a city elder, you would go like, hey, let's
do something with this. Yeah. And so it took like a groundswell effort of fans that said, look, this is a cool place. You need to something. It sometimes it looks depressed. It's rainy here a lot. You could look at all the negative parts, but man, Kurt Cobain and Chris Novoselic lived here, and that's where the roots of their angst and everything came from. How cool is that?
It deserves to be here, I suppose.
Yeah.
And Elma's down the road with Melvin's and I kind of think of the whole. Well, Quincy Jones and was here for a while, and so was Ray Charles and Hendrix, and
Oh, the guys from the Doobie Brothers.
Yeah, I mean,
lived here in Aberdeen.
In Hart, and I'm missing a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I just, that's all. But anyway, what these guys have done here, it's definitely something. It's not nothing, and it's not hokey tourist trap.
Yeah,
and
I think every time we come in, it's kind of changed a little. I mean, we have our studio here, so we come in and we're like, "What did you put in? This is really cool." Or they do something that enhances your experience, and it's pretty cool. Let me talk real quick.
Sure.
I don't want to. We're going to run out of time, and I want to get to the part that I want to talk about. You hooked up with Lee and Danny. You're talking with them and everything, and you said, "Hey, I got something I think that people might want to see."
Sure.
And tell me that story, and you brought it with you. I want to see this.
Yeah, so I'm a nerd. I've always been a collector, like when I was a kid, comic books, and baseball cards and records, and stuff. Like I just like interesting things, jukeboxes, whatever, old cars.
I'm gonna move my camera. Keep talking.
Sure, yeah, please. So I had, I'm kind of a guitar nerd in a way, and so I had an opportunity to get a guitar that was Kurt's. And
say what?
Yeah. So
how'd you do that?
It was an auction site, but it was kind of on the down low, I guess, because it just didn't get published or popularized that much. But a guy got the guitar, the Nevermind tour. He was a Nirvana fan, and he saw him like 3 or 4 times. And the show was over, and he was just hanging out and on the side stage, and he said, "Hey, Kurt," and Kurt looked over and he waved, and Kurt kind of just walked up. And I've seen maybe you've seen videos of Kurt, interchanging with fans.
Right.
When he was feeling well, he was or not tired. He was totally cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, the story is that him and this kid talked for a minute, and he goes, "Hey, can I get your autograph, Kurt?" And he goes, "Yeah, hold on a minute," and he put a cigarette in his mouth and walked off. And then the guy was just kind of standing there for a minute, thinking that maybe he just would not.
Just blow him off.
And he walks back with this body of the guitar that's been smashed in.
So he smashed it.
Yeah. So like Fender sponsored Nirvana. They play Fender Strats, and so Kurt was beating him up, and every show, and so they gave the guitar techs, I think, or Nirvana, whoever would say, Kurt, they gave Ernie, like I think 15 or maybe 20, I don't exactly know the number, of Stratocasters, lefties Strats to destroy, and they didn't use the ones that were made in the States.
Wow.
They used the ones from Japan and
right.
Mexico.
To break.
Yeah, and they had them numbered, and Ernie and the other guitar tech, gosh, I can't remember his name, I'm sorry, but forgive me, guys. But they would number them all, and Kurt would just beat the crap out of them. Or he wouldn't, or he would, and then they'd Frankenstein them. They'd just take all the parts off them and keep building them, keep them going as duct tape, whatever it took.
Right.
So this is one of those guitars.
Wow.
And then
that's cool.
I got it just to be a nerd. Then I met Danny and Lee, and I was like, you know what? This is just it's in my basement, and I play it. Or I wanted to. I didn't want to sit in it and I thought, well, what's in my basement? Like, that's cool for me, but
nobody else gets to see that.
And I was like, you know what? I should go down there and see what these guys think about it. And then I was like, you know what? People should see it. And then I was like, you know what? People should play it. I want to see little kids, not little kids, but young adults.
Somebody who knows how to play guitar, or maybe they don't even know how to play.
And maybe there's a little contest at the end of the year with, you get a jam with Kurtz, or just
that'd be so cool.
Ask nicely. And
yeah.
So I got the guitar, and then I set about going over it with a fine-tooth comb and trying not to touch it, and then I went over and I analyzed. On the back of it, it says it's
I saw that,
scratched Nirvana, and Kurt had a specific way of writing, either left or right-handed, but the R's he made and the signature's authenticated, and I'm pretty.
You're pretty sure it was him, huh?
Pretty damn sure it's him, and it is. I mean,
well, you brought it with you today.
I did.
And if you want to grab it real quick.
Sure. I don't know where to put it. Is this my?
Yeah, right there. That's your angle there, and we can look at it.
You tell me how far to go back.
All right, right there. That's great.
Right there.
Yeah, that's just amazing.
I can't see, but
yeah, there you are.
There we are.
There you are. Yeah. So look at this. This is amazing. Amazing. Now this is interesting. What he spelled his name 2 different ways over the years.
That's what I understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes his signatures were really sloppy and horrible. I mean, can you imagine walking downstairs, trying to sign with one hand?
No.
you got your cigarette or whatever.
Right.
And then sometimes he was really clean about it.
I'm gonna get your mic closer to you.
Oh, sorry. Quick. Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, yeah. Pull it towards you there.
Sure.
There you go.
So then there's so anyway, I just got the body, and Ernie had taken all the guts out of it, and they reused them, and then I got a lefty neck.
Nice.
And I thought, I'm not gonna alter the history of the guitar by actually putting a neck on it.
Right.
I mean, it's a big deal, so I wanted to play it.
Right.
So it's a lefty neck, but it's a right-hand nut. I strung it because
you strung it right-handed,
so I could play it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have, but people are like,
That's
you shouldn't touch it. I'm like,
it's already been broken on the stage. For goodness sakes, what does it matter?
I mean, well, it's a museum piece, maybe.
Yeah.
But also, collector cars are museum pieces, but you got to drive them their car. So I want people to play this. And
yeah, we got to see the Nirvana thing on the back. That's just freaking awesome.
Can you see that? Because I can't see.
Yes. Yeah, it looks great.
Okay.
That's amazing.
Yeah, Nirvana Kill. If you look at other guitars that Kurt had and wrote Nirvana on, it's like it's identical. I mean,
right.
So we have a viewer on the street looking at the guitar.
Yeah, there you go.
But here's the guitar. And then I had a friend of mine that was friends with Ben Shepherd from Soundgarden.
Yeah, I got to play his bass. They have his bass over here.
Yeah, that was mine.
Is that one of yours?
Yeah, I
cool.
ended up with it. Well, it's still Ben's, I guess. But so I decided, rather than having cool guitars sit around and I play them,
people are loving seeing it too.
Yeah, it's cool. And so that's the goal, is like the people to check this kind of stuff out and just enjoy it.
It's really cool.
Yeah. So
well, thank you, by the way, for letting them kind of take care of it for you for a while, because now all we get to benefit from that.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, well, yeah, and everybody that I don't know from Aberdeen or from Northwest or from Japan or where they come from can check something that's cool out, and that adds to the whole thing. And I figured,
man.
And so
it's totally legit. That's really cool.
Yeah, and so I'm not like a star worshiper guy, but I just thought it would be fun. And I said, what the hell?
Well,
and
I, for one, just want to thank you because, again, it's just really cool. It's an interesting thing how the music project is bringing people from all walks of life together to celebrate music. And it's nice to have it here in Aberdeen. I mean, most of the time we have to drive to Seattle to go to Mopop or something like that, just to enjoy something like this. And now we've got something right here.
Sure.
And it's brought a lot of music, like this World Music Day. I can't tell you how many musicians are gathering today at this. I mean, there's venues all over the harbor where people are playing music today. Crazy, like over 25 places playing music.
Yeah, wow. I saw the layout and I was like, wow.
It's like, wow, it's a little overwhelming actually.
And it's unfortunately it's not sunny out, but
I know
that's what happens.
Yeah, it's Aberdeen.
Yeah,
it's how it is.
Yep.
Trev, it was great talking with you.
Sure.
I am so thrilled that you came and talked. So now you're famous to me. And before I go, I got to hit this button here in just a minute.
Yeah,
this is cool. I got to find your name.
I'm not. I did have a record company in Seattle in the 80s.
Look at that. There you go. You got your lower third right there, buddy.
Right.
Anyway, say what now?
Well, I just wanted to I had a record company in Seattle from '88 to '94.
Wow, in the heart of it.
And we did we had Big Satan Incorporated, Flop, and we did a thing called Another Damn Seattle compilation with Chris Swenson, and we had the Fastbacks, Skin Yard, Derelicts, Mudhoney's on it.
Nice.
Gas Huffer. I can't remember.
Wow, all these names that I haven't heard in a long time.
The Posies, but our initial intent was to have Tad, Soundgarden, Melvins, Nirvana, all the bands we could squeeze in, and Chris and Kurt said, "Yeah, we'll do it."
Oh my gosh, I bet you're freaking out.
And we were stoked, and we're like, "Okay, we're gonna record in like 6 months." We set it up a reciprocal with Mike and Dino, or Jack and Dino, and in that time period, Nirvana got signed.
Well, you can kiss that goodbye then, huh? Because the label goes,
Well, we asked Chris, and he related to Kurt, and I was like, come on, just call yourselves like the Three Hard Nuts,
right?
Just sneak it in, man, be punk rock. And they were like, we don't know.
We don't get in trouble.
I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
And then so I just, not to be rock and roll dude or anything, but like I saw numerous bands. U-Men, I mean, older bands in Seattle, Pop Defect, Wipers, Warp Factor 8.
Wow.
The Farts.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, they're, and then as a couple of years would go by, then there's bands like like Gas Huffer or Nirvana or like, But I want to say this one thing, that Melvin's always crushed it. I mean, we're the same age, and I saw those guys in the basement of like the Graven Image, the little shitty dirt basement. Pardon my language, but everyone was just like, holy crap! Yeah,
right.
They had this thing that
they still have that thing.
They still have that thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'm talking too much about music.
No, that's great.
And I should be talking about other things, but
you're great.
But it was a different thing. It was like I just want people to realize, like, when people said, like, oh, there's this band from Gold Bar, Washington, was kind of north of Seattle in the mountains. We were like, fuck, or excuse me. We were like, really? Gold Bar? And then like, oh, these guys Nirvana from Aberdeen. We're like, Aberdeen? We got to go, we had to go see them because that was so far. And like, Seattle was really factional. It was Capitol Hill and Ballard.
Right.
And those areas were just,
humming, yeah.
And different. West Seattle was like far away. And anyway, there's Danny. Hi. So I just, Lee said, well, Trev, can you come down here and, maybe be a docent or just talk to people that want to know, like, I can't tell people what it was like back in the day, but I was, every weekend we just go to shows and that's all we did was music.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to ask a question or something, I might have an answer. Or
that's cool. Are you going to be around for a while?
Yeah, I'm here all day.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay. So go find Trev.
Well, if you want.
Hit him up. Yeah. I think that would be awesome. That's very cool.
I was just there and I saw and I did and I helped out, and if I can teach somebody.
Well, I love your stories, and maybe you'll have to come be on the radio with me.
Sweet.
That would be kind of fun.
It would be fun. It'd be great to be here, man. And thanks for inviting me down. This has been fun, and I hope people keep coming in and seeing what these guys have created. Yeah.
This is cool. All right. Thanks, man. Thanks for being on the show.
All right.
And being live at the Amp Lab here at the Music Project, everybody. Come on down. It's a blast.